Welcome to the FitBiz Accelerator, your ultimate guide to launching, growing, and scaling a thriving online fitness business. I'm your host, Tobias Young, and whether you're just starting out or looking to take your business to the next level, this podcast is packed with actionable tips, real-world strategies, and the insights you need to crush your business goals and build the business of your dreams. Now that you're here, let's dive in. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the FitBiz Accelerator. And today's episode is one that every serious online coach needs to hear, because there's a side of this industry that not enough people are talking about openly, but it's happening everywhere. Peptides, hormones, labs, research-only products. And coaches promoting things like this are literally, it's saying like not for human consumption, where it says this on the label, but most don't even realize how much risk they are even taking. And today I've got Josh Braden on the show, and Josh is the founder of KissRx. It's a compliant medical infrastructure platform that allows online fitness professionals to legally offer labs and hormones and peptides inside their coaching business. And he built it after watching coaches risk everything, promoting gray market compounds and research-only peptides. And his mission is simple: protect the coaches, increase client results, and help them build scalable, legally sound revenue streams. Josh, welcome to the show. Let's start here. What did you see happening in the industry that made you say, man, this is a serious problem and someone needs to fix it?
Awesome. So Tobias, thanks for having me on. And that is a great question. And with KissRx, what we have seen and why we created KissRx is we found that a lot of testosterone clinics, a lot of telehealth clinics, they were being predatory towards online coaches. Research peptide pharmacies, they're also being pretty predatory. And what I mean by that is they're offering ways of, they're trying to use online coaches very specifically, or coaches in general, as a lead generation tool for their business, because they can't figure out how to get their own leads, how they can get their own patients. So what they were doing, or what I've seen over and over and over with all the coaches that we work with, is that they've been reached out to by a clinic or a peptide research-only peptide pharmacy, and they get offered profit share or revenue share of it, right? And like you said, it's completely illegal. And the coach has no idea what the actual laws are or the legality of it, because they're just taking their word for it. And that's where we got the idea. You know what? We need to make something that's legally compliant that they can actually offer to their patients. And that's where KissRx comes into play.
How big is this issue right now? Is this something that's like getting bigger and bigger?
It is getting huge right now, right? Especially with research peptides, because almost anybody can get their hands on a research peptide. And like you said at the beginning there, research peptides literally say not for human consumption. So what's happening with that is people are seeing that they can make quick money by offering a peptide super cheap, research grade, to their clients. And what's happening, as soon as you make that purchase, as soon as you make that sale, whether it's through Stripe, PayPal, part of your program, and you provide that recommendation or you provide that product, research grade product, to the client, you are now held liable if anything happens. Which also means, and this is one big thing that a lot of people don't understand, especially if you are an online coach selling a high ticket coaching program. Usually people that buy high ticket coaching programs are typically high performing individuals that usually have an income. High income. Most of those people also have life insurance. If you provide that research grade peptide to your client as a recommendation, they pass away while taking that, they could potentially be denied that health claim because they were taking something that was specifically said not for human consumption.
Wow.
And that's on the coach for providing it or recommending it. So quickest way to lose a 1,000+ business that you've worked your butt off to build, recommend a research peptide.
Oh my gosh, that's insane. That was leading to my next question, because this is the big elephant in the room. Like, coaches are actively promoting research-only peptides labeled for animal use. They're sharing the links. They're recommending dosages, and most are profiting from it. And like, the real risk here, is it just a slap on the wrist type of a situation, or are we talking about business ending consequences?
So this could be business ending consequences. And depending on the peptide that you're recommending, you could have the government on you. You could have the big pharma companies going after you. You could have the actual client coming after you and suing you for malpractice. If you're recommending dosage, then you're crossing over into practicing medicine. And if that happens, there's so many government agencies that will come down on you so fast, it's not even funny. The other part of the legality of everything that happens is the corporate practice of medicine, corporate practice of medicine is the biggest issue that we see in all states. And that specifically states that a non-licensed medical professional cannot profit from a medical prescription or a medical service. Unless you're a doctor as a coach, if you're profiting off of any of that stuff, you're going against it. And God forbid, and here's the biggest one, testosterone is a controlled substance, okay? So the DEA will come after you if they find that you're profiting off of testosterone. So you're basically a drug dealer if you're getting a kickback by recommending your clients to go someplace to get testosterone.
And I'll tell you what, man, I've been watching Ozark. I don't know if any of you guys seen Ozark.
Perfect example. Yes.
And I'm like, dude, that's crazy. Like some of the stuff in there too. When you got the DEA, like FBI, like all those, it is no joke. If someone's doing this right now, how exposed are they?
So to be honest with you, a lot of times what we have found is people that just start out doing it, depending on where they're getting it from, where they're recommending it, the exposure is pretty low at the very beginning, right? But once you start doing 3 clients, 4 clients, 5 clients, as you start to recommend those stuff, you get so exposed because now the variable isn't just you. Now the variable is you, the client that you're recommending it to. But then as the volume of them taking stuff and buying things from where you're recommending, because it's research grade, technically they don't have to be tested as often and they're made in bulk. So you never really know the true quality of what's actually in there. You also don't know, because it's not medically prescribed, if somebody gets confused and, research grade peptides usually come in a powder form, you add backwater, right? What if somebody reads the label wrong and you told them, or they were told, or they use ChatGPT to get a dosage, right? And they've never got labs. They don't know their health history. They didn't put all that stuff in there. They don't understand exactly the adverse reactions, and they take double the dosage or 4 times the dosage because it's really easy because you're mixing it yourself, right? From that standpoint, not only is your business at risk, if they did come back on you, and this is the really scary part, if you don't have malpractice insurance for your business, for that specifically, which nobody will approve you for malpractice insurance to sell research grade peptides, right? But let's say you don't, when something does happen, they not only come through to your business, right? Your business insurance is going to say, we don't cover that. And they're going to go right to the person, your house, your home, your income, anything that you had in savings, gone, because the insurance company is coming after something.
Gosh.
Just because you made $30 off of recommending a research peptide.
That's insane, man. And now let's simplify something for the audience too. You talk about a licensed pharmacies. Break that down for us. What's the difference between research chemical websites, random telehealth clinics, 503A pharmacies, and 503B pharmacies? And what does that distinction matter for an online fitness coach?
So that's huge. So typically we see, in terms of online coaches trying to sell products, we typically see 2 types of those. One is going to be research grade or research only, which is clearly stated. Then we also see some that are doing physician use only peptides. It's exactly the same thing, right? It's just a different name. Those typically would come from a B pharmacy. B pharmacies produce peptides, hormones in bulk, right? So there's a very key distinction there. They do it in bulk. So as a distributor, I can go to a B pharmacy and say, hey, I need retatrutide, semaglutide, tesamorelin, whatever it is, and I'm going to buy 1,000 vials of it. It's for research purposes. They'll sell it to almost anybody, right? As long as you do the paperwork. Then once I receive it, I can now distribute it because I'm not regulated the way that most other clinics and everything is. And as long as I put that little disclaimer on there, it says research use only, not for human consumption, right? I can sell those, but I'm totally selling them to humans. And as soon as they find that out, right? The 51-year-old buys retatrutide off of your website. That has nothing to do with research. Clearly, they know what they're doing, right? Now, that's 503B. 503A pharmacies are direct to the patient based upon the patient themselves. So the only way to get something from a 503A pharmacy is a medical provider has to write a prescription, and they make it to order for that specific patient based upon the provider recommendations. So you'll never get a research grade thing, peptide, from a pharmacy.
Okay, just the 503Bs. That makes sense. Thanks for the clarification on that, Josh.
And there's all kinds of going into this, right? There are so many gray markets, black markets. Like I had one coach that came to us to KissRx, and he's like, I think where I'm recommending these peptides, it's probably not a good place. I'm like, well, what's your first indication? He's like, well, they say research grade and they make people pay a personal PayPal account. I'm like, yeah, that's because that's illegal. They're doing something that they shouldn't be doing, right? So yeah, it gets crazy even outside of those pharmacies. Or they're getting from China, from Mexico, or somewhere outside the country, and you really don't know what's in those things.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. And if we shift from the risk to the opportunity now. So if a coach wants to integrate labs the right way, what does that actually look like?
Awesome. So labs very specifically is that legal outlier, right? Technically, anybody can buy the labs, okay? And that's a very key distinction. You cannot buy for a client the medications or the prescriptions or anything like that. But the labs themselves, you can actually include those in your program. You can all pay for those for the client. The biggest key to it, though, is a lot of labs themselves, they worry about patient health information. So one of the things that we typically see being an issue is you'll recommend a company that does labs. You'll send the client to get their labs. Once the labs come back, you have to wait and let the client send you their labs. What we typically see when that happens, they're just emailing them to the coach. What most coaches don't realize from a HIPAA compliance standpoint is if they're sending those labs from their Gmail account to your Gmail account, not a Google Workspace account, but a Gmail account, that is a HIPAA violation because your email is not HIPAA compliant. So there's a lot of variables in that issue or concern that come up all the time where they're like, oh, well, I send them to this lab and they just send me their labs so I can review them with them. I was like, well, that's great. Is everything HIPAA compliant? When you have one or two clients, nobody's going to come after you. But once you start in that revenue doing 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, like our online coaching company Unstoppable 365, we do $200,000 a month. That's a concern, right? I don't want an email from a lab to bring the company down because I just weren't tracking it correctly. So that's one thing that you got to look at. The next way, when you get labs or recommend labs, for the coach themselves, right? I mean, this is something that every coach can understand. When you talk about nutrition, right? Most coaches aren't registered dietitians, right? So if they're like, hey, I'm diabetic, right? What would you tell me to help cure or help my diabetes, right? You have to be real careful what you say, right? It's like, hey, if this was me, I would recommend this, right? But you should check with a registered dietitian just to make sure, or check with your doctor, right?
Yeah.
So labs are kind of the same way. When you bring labs into your client care, right, you can use data to make decisions to help them get the results that they need. Really easy example. Most of the time, if you're a male over 40 years old and your testosterone's 230, all the nutrition and workouts in the world might not get you a six-pack, right? And they could be frustrated with your coaching because it's not working. Where really all they need to do is take a simple test. Hey, that number, if that was me, I would go to my medical provider. And if medically necessary, I'd probably get on TRT, right? And because you can see the data, it can help you give them results and it can help you level up your coaching program because now you're no longer a fitness coach, you're a health coach, right? You can add a concierge level because you can actually see that data.
Then the income streams increase.
Through the roof, right?
Yeah.
Just because we include labs at Unstoppable 365, our 12-month program is $13,000. That doesn't include any prescriptions or anything. It just includes labs and a health coach to review those labs, right? And we have seen coaches that a lot of times imposter syndrome happens a lot with coaches. They're like, I really want to sell my coaching package for $5,000 for 6 months or 3 months. Is it worth it? Well, add some labs in there. Now you're a health coach, right? And now it's 100% worth it, right? And you didn't add a lot of effort into it or a lot of stuff into it as we go through the process. So labs, 100% should be in every coach's toolbox.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense in there too. Mm-hmm. And Josh, if you can, walk us through the compliancy structure. So where does physician oversight come in? Who orders what? How does it stay legal? And why does lab tracking increase the retention?
Yeah. So from a compliance standpoint, when it starts to cross over, right? As soon as you see a biomarker that is off, and majority of labs that you order, so for example, the labs that you get through KissOS or KissRx, what happens is they're red drop. You put them on your arm, press a little button, it takes blood. They put it in a FedEx box, ships it overnight to the lab. The labs, if they get them in time for that day, they will produce the results same day. Okay. When you review them, it literally has colors, whether it's high, low, right? Whether you need to look at it. So it's really easy to kind of view them. And as a coach, I am legally allowed to review them with a client from the standpoint of information and coaching. Right? I can't review them and say, hey, your testosterone's low. You gave me a symptom of being low energy. If you got on testosterone, it would cure that. That's bad, right? Hey, based upon the results that I'm trying to get you, help you increase your energy, help you lose the body fat, those type of results, I would recommend talking to the provider about your testosterone because based upon the labs, it's saying that it's low, right? Same result, but legally compliant. Then when it crosses over to medical, as soon as they do the intake form, they order whatever they want to do, the medical provider now has a relationship as a patient-provider relationship, and then they can look at the numbers, and if they deem it medically necessary, right? And at KissRx, one of the big distinctions between our philosophy from our medical team and your primary care provider. Primary care providers want you to take you from sickness to wellness. So if they see a number that's within range, but not optimal, right? They're like, you're good. Our team wants to take people from wellness to optimized, all within the legal boundaries, right? Yeah. For example, if you come in, you have a 500 testosterone, technically your normal provider typically won't provide anything. But that's not really optimized. Optimized is that 750 to 1,000 kind of range, right? Our providers will typically, if deemed medically necessary, will provide that. Vice versa, if you come in and your testosterone is 4,000, right? We're going to ask where you're getting your stuff, and we should probably bring it back down, right? And they won't prescribe anything because it's all deemed medically necessary, right? Then what happens from that perspective, and here's one thing that KissRx, why we built it this way. We are technically a software provider for the coach. So I want to make sure that distinction is very clear. Because we're a software provider to the coach, right? And our medical team is a medical team for the patient, okay? That means they cannot be swayed by anything from the patient perspective, which means they only will prescribe what is deemed medically necessary that the patient wants. And it doesn't matter to us if they prescribe nothing or 500 things, right? That's what makes it legally compliant because nobody's profiting off of prescriptions that may or may not be needed. Now, coming back to the software side of things, because we provide a software to the coach, our relationship is with the coach themselves, which means the provider, or they send the patient to KissRx to get the prescriptions and become a patient. If for some reason that patient no longer is a coaching client, they can submit to our team and we will remove at the end of their prescription access to the portal, right? Which means you always have a client for life. Unlike sending them to your local provider or another telehealth clinic, when the coaching stops, right? They're still a patient because you just generate a lead for them. KissRx and the medical team, we don't make any money off of the prescriptions or the medical side of things. So our goal is to strictly provide an amazing experience to optimize the patient, which in turn provides a better result from the coaching that the coach is providing and selling.
Nice. Yeah, I like that. And let's talk revenue, Josh, too. And you've seen coaches add meaningful revenue through compliant medical integration. What does that realistically look like?
Yeah, so I'll explain the 3 ways that we typically recommend implementing KissRx and how the money works, right? So with KissRx, we charge $497 a month to the coach itself to have access and provide the medical team. The coach can in turn, because the coach is not selling medical. They're selling access to their team and to the portal. So they can either add value to their current coaching program by just giving all 100 clients access to the portal. It doesn't matter to us whether they send 2 patients or 500 patients. They can send whoever they want. So the first one, some coaches are just adding value to what they're currently doing, which gives them a lot more confidence to sell that $5,000 package. It allows them to close because the value is no longer, you're not competing against Peloton or Apple Fit or something like that that's super cheap. Now you're cheap compared to going to medical insurance and getting that $30,000 bill, right? They now have access to that medical team so they can sell and have more confidence and close more deals just by having a medical team involved. Second way is they can easily increase their current offering by between $100 to $200 a month just by adding this into their program. We had one coach that sent out an email to all his clients and said, hey, for an extra $200 a month, you can have access to our medical team where they will optimize you. They'll look at your labs. You can have access to peptides and hormone therapy at a pretty much wholesale rate, right? And he was able to get 57 clients that he currently had. He had 100 clients, 57 of them went ahead and signed up at an extra $200 a month. Nice. Just because he offered it, right?
Yeah.
The third way is a continuity, and this is the one that usually blows people's minds, right? We have found, and this is a real world example, we had a client that is getting TRT and tirzepatide through another provider. This coach got on a call with him because he canceled his program about a month ago. He knew he was taking these items. He got on a call with them, showed them the current pricing, and just by moving those prescriptions over, the coach is now charging him $97 a month for access. And that client is saving $800 every 6 months just by moving his stuff over. And the coach is charging for it. Nice. So it's a continuity program where if a client is like, hey, I need to cancel my coaching program. Cool. Try to save them, obviously. If you can't save them and they're buying stuff through the portal, you can say, hey, if you lose the coach, like stop coaching, you lose access to the patient portal. However, we do have this $150 a month and you can keep access to that patient portal. Usually mathematically, it works out to be in their favor to just keep paying the $150 a month. And to the coach, you literally do nothing for the fulfillment side of things.
Yeah.
You just collect the payment every single month. And those are the 3 ways that we typically are seeing people do so. Now, the benefit of using KissRx over anybody else, this is huge. We give you a launch kit that explains the stuff that you can say, can't say, how to launch it, that kind of stuff. We also give you an agreement for patient health information where you have your client sign off that we are allowed to give you that information. If they sign off on it, we can provide you with labs legally. We have a portal that's HIPAA compliant, so we're not sending emails back and forth and they're not figuring out all this random stuff, right? We can also provide stuff like what the provider would recommend in their coaching program. We can provide you with that data. So when you are inevitably on these weekly check-in calls or getting the conversations, because they'll talk to you more than they'll talk to the provider, you can actually have an effective conversation because you've experienced this. How many times has somebody said, I need to stop your coaching program because my doctor, my primary care physician says it's not good for me, right? Or I shouldn't do, deadlifts because my doctor said I shouldn't when you're programming deadlifts. Our team works with you to make sure that they stay with your coaching program. That's our ultimate goal. Is keep them with your coaching program, not go against it. We'll also update you if there is something that needs to change. We'll allow that change. So we're working as your partner opposed to 2 separate people.
Nice. Okay. Gotcha. And then do the coaches, so they refer people in there and then they just pay the $497 a month. And then is there additional commission for when the clients?
So that's funny. Everybody always asks that question. As soon as that happens, that's the corporate practice of medicine.
Oh, that's illegal. The malpractice.
Yeah, that's
okay.
illegal,
Gotcha.
right?
Okay.
That's why inside the portal, we designed it to be a software, right? Mm-hmm. We make money off the software. The medical providers make money off the visits, which is included in all the pricing. So there's no additional prices. But we keep the prices as low as we possibly can. So that way, when people get in there, we'll take tirzepatide. One of the big names out there sells tirzepatide for $1,600 every 3 months. In our portal, you can get it for 6 months for that same price. So we try to keep the prices lower than they'll find anywhere else. So the value is there. Also in our launch kit, we don't teach people to just sell on the price. It's the value of having a medical team that's on the coach's side to help them get the maximum results for that client.
Yeah, I love that.
And when you have a coaching program that can effectively say, I'm going to help you with fitness, nutrition, mindset, and I have a medical team that will help you with all your medical needs, get your hormones optimized, take your labs, answer any of your questions. So that way we're being effective with what we're doing and give you a true return on your investment from either a result standpoint that they want. That is so powerful. Like, you can sell that for almost anything, right? I don't know if I can say this on the podcast, but this is the exact same process that Superhuman does.
Okay. Yeah, you can say whatever.
Cool.
Man, so all good.
I really love to say that we can take full credit of this. They sell 2 primary packages to their high income earners, right? 150,000 plus people that make it. It's a $10,000 package or a $20,000 package. And both of those give them just access to their medical team. And then they have to pay for the prescription separately because it's illegal to keep it in the same thing. A lot of people think they package it up for $20,000. They don't, right? You just get access to their medical team and then you pay that stuff separate.
Okay. And then you mentioned that one peptide,
Tirzepatide, semaglutide.
Tirzepatide. Yeah. Is that like a weight loss peptide? Is
Yep,
that what
weight loss peptide.
Okay. I figured. And then let's zoom out a little bit too, Josh, because I talk a lot about building real enterprise value versus quick cash. And from your perspective, what separates a fragile fitness business from one that's actually structured, it's protected, and it's scalable?
That is an excellent question. And this is one thing that I talk to everybody about. Every coach that I work with, that's one concern that they typically have is they're always charging PIF, and then they have to get people on renewals. PIF, get on renewals, right? When you don't have a contract or some type of reoccurring purchase, right? From an enterprise price perspective, it's very difficult to sell it or have protection. So adding KissRx into your program is a really easy way to generate monthly reoccurring revenue and or build, right? A lot of times the reason why we want to sell a PIF for $5,000 is because we need the cash. We need $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month. So we sell $5,000 PIFs. But if you could sell that same program for $800 a month, monthly reoccurring on a 12-month contract or a 24-month contract, some people are doing that. When you start to build monthly reoccurring revenue, you actually generate and create value in your business. And business owners, investors, venture capitalists, that's what they're looking for is, can you show steady income? Really good example. We have one coach that sells KissRx as part of their program, as well as their coaching and health coaching. And what they do is, we'll just, for easy math, let's say they do 6 months for $6,000. At the end of that 6 months, they don't get on renewal calls. It just auto renews for $1,250 a month. If that client wants to get a discount, they can reach out to them to pay in full again. Okay? But because they have the medical piece in there, right? The value of what they're providing is so much higher. They're building reoccurring revenue. And if for some reason they stop the coaching part, if somebody's usually on tirzepatide, which is a weight loss, or TRT very specifically, or something with a thyroid or something like that, they always have to have it forever, right? The easiest way to build monthly reoccurring revenue that is steady and consistent is to sell something that they always have to have.
Yeah.
Ta-da! KissRx.
Yeah, I gotcha. And if we look ahead, obviously the industry is evolving always. And over the next 5 to 10 years, who wins? The loud gray market coaches or the structured compliant operators? What's your prediction?
100% the structured compliant operators. We're already starting to see legal lawsuits come down on companies that are selling peptides that are research grade. It's just a matter of time that people will catch up, right? Especially as you start to do volume, right? If you're doing it once or twice, you might not get caught, just like anything else, right? But you start doing 100, 200, 300 orders a month, like you're going to be on the radar and they'll come after you. And when they come after you, they want to make a statement out of everybody, right? You could literally kill people.
Yeah.
It's definitely Ozark, right?
That's great. Have you seen Ozark?
Yeah. Ozark, that is a really good analogy. Like, you don't want to be, who's the main character? Marty. You don't want to be Marty and get sucked into this whole research grade, physician use only. Like, drives me nuts. I've got one person that I follow and friends with on Facebook, and he's a marketer. And now he's selling a wholesale peptides. And he literally, in every single post in his sales page, it says, and on the label, it says for kangaroo use only. And when people say, I want it, awesome. DM me so we can send it to your kangaroo. What? Blows my mind. Like, how can you, like, I would feel terrible selling that to somebody. Like, if you're going to do it yourself, whatever. Free speech, free whatever. If you want to put something in your body that you buy off of some random website through PayPal and get it shipped from someplace with a random name on it, go for it, right? But as soon as you sell it to somebody else that knows you, trust that you're in their best interest, and you say, hey, yeah, go buy this research peptide because they say it's good and it's tested.
Yeah, I love that show. I'm on season 4. I'm in like the mid part, so I'm almost towards the end. So I'm loving it. Let's shift gears. So we're going to go into what's called rapid fire. And these are short answers. Just first thing that comes to mind. Biggest mistake coaches make with peptides.
They do not do the research on what the hell they're recommending.
Most misunderstood term in this space.
A research grade and physician use.
One thing coaches should immediately stop doing.
Do not recommend or sell anything that is not provided by a medical provider that literally says research or physician use only. Like, stop.
One thing they should start doing this month.
Selfishly, I got to say, start with a legally compliant company that is on your side. And that's KissRx. Hands down, we designed it for coaches, by coaches, for coaches, to generate revenue for you and give the clients the maximum results, period.
Sounds good. Research only products, trend that fades or enforcement that increases?
I think it's going to be enforcement. And if I understand the question correctly, the regulations are going to start coming down on it hard. It's always going to be around, just like you can get illegal substances anywhere else, but it's going to go from gray market to black market real fast. In the next 12 months, I guarantee black market is the only way you're going to get research grade.
Biggest hidden opportunity most coaches are missing?
That is an awesome question. Create your program around being a health coach, not a fitness coach. Fitness coaches are commodities. Health coaches is a premium optimized coach that is designed to help people get actual results that actually matter.
All right. Last one. One sentence. What is KissRx really?
KissRx is a legally compliant medical team that partners with the health coach to provide maximum results for their clients.
Right. And let's land this plane now. Thank you very much for the rapid fire round.
Awesome.
If someone's listening and they realize they might be playing with fire, or they want to integrate labs or hormones and peptides the right way, what's their first step?
Their first step is do their research on, and this is what I typically recommend, right? Research the stuff that you've been wanting to take. Research what it is, how it works, and where you can actually get it. Once you understand what you would recommend, for example, when the first patient we add when you sign up with KissRx is you, because we want you using the portal, take the labs, order the stuff so you can see the results, right? Once you start using them and you're taking them, you're understanding the science behind it, you're set and you can start recommending it to people. That's one of the biggest things that I would do to start from that standpoint.
Guys, this is one of those episodes that you might want to listen to twice. And this isn't just about adding revenue either. It's about protecting your brand. It's about protecting your future. And it's about building something that actually lasts. The coaches who win this decade, they're not going to necessarily be the loudest, but they're going to be the most structured. They're going to be the ones that are most protected and the ones that are most scalable. So share this with another coach who needs to hear it. And I'll see you on the next episode of the FitBiz Accelerator. Thanks for tuning in to the FitBiz Accelerator. If you found value in today's episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a tip or strategy to grow your online fitness business. And if you're ready to fast track your success, don't forget to check out TNTFitProCoaching.com. Until next time, stay consistent, stay focused, and keep crushing it.